Yo, what's going on, man? Today is May the 14th, and yeah, it's the ChrisBeCappinn Show, man. Top of the morning to all the people that's up. Um, Two games in the association for tonight, two games yesterday as well. Two teams looking to close out, and we'll get into them in just a second. Um, Jump into a quick recap of last night. I did go, just want to know, the Pacers +7. They didn't even end up needing the points. Won the game outright, sent Cleveland to the crib. Let Cleveland stay at the crib. They're having taken the trip back to Indiana. We bet this on, I was looking at my bet slip. We bet this on Sunday night, and I think it was 11:04. As soon as game 4 ended, we bet Indiana plus the 7, and it ended up moving all the way to 8. So shout out to all the people who got the number that I didn't get, but didn't even need it. +7 was a winner. +8, of course, was a winner. Money line was actually a winner. I stayed away from the Denver and OKC game last night. The plays that we talked about on the show though would have went 2-1 in this game, so it would have been a 3-1 day. I think based on the short list I had. We talked about taking Denver plus the 10.5. That was a winner. We talked about Nikola Jokic. I forgot who mentioned that in the comments, but we did the research. It made sense. He did stay under his 8.5 assists, but OKC first half -6.5 would have been a losing proposition. They actually were losing at halftime by 2 points last night. So 3-1 day on the recap of what was shared yesterday. Also, real quick, going back to yesterday, I found the mistake that I made. Nobody actually even pointed this out on the recap yesterday, and I guess the members would more so notice, but I think I had plus 2.84 units yesterday. It wasn't plus 2.84, it's plus 1.84. My math was off. The Minnesota 1-10 win margin was a plus 155 on FanDuel. So yeah, wanted to make sure I didn't give myself credit for doing something that I didn't do yesterday. So plus 1.84 units yesterday, another 0.67 units last night. And shout out to Chad too. Shout out to Chad that comes in, talks about me and Chad go back and forth and on Twitter sometimes, but Chad always inspires me to make those 1-10 win margin plays because it's not something that I do frequently. I knew Minnesota would win the game. Well, I at least thought Minnesota would win the game. Just didn't think that didn't know if they were going to cover based on that Kuminga 3 that he hit in game number 3, I think it was. So yeah, to end up being a push. But yeah, shout out to my guy Chad as well. All right, let's jump into it. Let's go through the comments and see who's here with me on a Wednesday. Sunny says, "Yo, house, kindly hit the like button for the show. Don't want to be seeing 600 people on the show to get 59 likes today." Yeah, people here for information. People don't, most people don't want to do that, and that's fine. I get it. Good morning, Algina. Says let's cash today. What up, Prolific? Says Chris. Good morning. Can't believe Cleveland gone. Wow. Yeah, I mean they were gonna limp to the finish line anyway. I was actually telling one of my really close friends last night that when Cleveland was making their comeback, I was hoping that they won the game last night because I knew they weren't gonna cover the 7 anyway. But 4 or 5 minutes left. I was like, man, please let Cleveland win this game. Please let Cleveland win this game. I was gonna put the biggest bet that I made all season on Indiana in the next game in Indiana. Whatever the point spread was at the beginning, I was gonna lay it. I thought that they would absolutely run the Cleveland Cup. You could tell Cleveland's just gassed. They didn't have any energy left. So yeah, I was hoping Cleveland got the win last night, but they did not. What up, JLB Bets? Hope all is well with you, bro. What up, Justin? Is my guy in here is always with me. Shout out to my guy Justin. Shout out to Peasy as well. What up, Peasy? Hope all is well with you. Good morning. I love us. Says Struce sold me on the 3s. I'm glad Cleveland gone and Jared Allen 9 points. Good morning, Marquise. What up, Prestigious Prodigy? Dirty Rig. What's up, bro? Hope all is well with you. Good morning, Adam. Says I'm feeling Boston blowout tonight. Just a gut feeling. I took them first quarter. We're gonna talk about that. I did not bet OKC last night. Yeah, I'm glad I stayed off too. Denver has been coming to play, man. I think we got to give Denver some flowers. I didn't expect them to even make it this far in the playoffs. Even if they lose at home tomorrow, I didn't expect it to go like this. DJ says the lights are on Jalen Brown tonight. Can he lead the team without Tatum? We're going to look into that real quick. We'll look into this prop as well. Good morning, G421. Says cash the Pacers 13.5, 113.5 team total with the late 3. What up, Dom? Says Rick Carlisle said the team looked at those point spreads and used it as fuel. Wow, I didn't even see that. Shout out to Rick Carlisle, man. I love Rick Carlisle. I think he's probably a top 5 coach in the NBA. Just longevity wise, I've always been a big fan of Rick Carlisle. He coaching the guys up, man. They could have easily rolled over and just took care of business in Indiana tomorrow. And that's what the Knicks better hope that they do the same thing tonight, because you don't want to go against the Pacers when you got some injuries and they don't, man. That could be a scary proposition. Let's jump into it for today, though. jaXon, your AI sports betting too. jaXon has actually been cool the last couple of days, and when I say cool, I mean closer to cold. Yesterday, 0-2 day. I know it went 1-1. jaXon went 1-1 day before yesterday, but last night or yesterday morning, the plays were Jalen Williams, JALEN, over his 4.5 assists. He finished on 4, so that was a loser. And Tyrese Halliburton under his 4.5 rebounds. He finished with 6, so that was a loser. So 2 player prop losers yesterday for jaXon. Today, I only wanted to give out 1 player prop. I feel like jaXon maybe I got to switch up the prompt or something. So I went with what is the what is the best NBA player prop bet today based on player performance. So only 1 player prop, and then we're gonna look at a total as well. jaXon likes Jalen Brunson over his 6.5 assists. This is something I can get behind. jaXon likes Jalen Brunson under points plus assists in the last game. That was an absolute loser. But over 6.5 assists for Brunson today. He says he's hit the over in 80% of his last 5 games, 90% of his last 10 games, averaging 8 assists over his last 10 games. Against the Celtics, he has a 50% hit rate, but his recent playoff performance suggests an upward trend. Celtics rank 6th in defense against the point guard position, but Brunson's playmaking has been consistent, even against strong defenses. Brunson has been a key facilitator for the Knicks, especially in high-stakes playoff games. His recent form and ability to distribute the basketball effectively make him a strong pick for the over. So jaXon likes Jalen Brunson over his 6.5 assists, and maybe we'll even pull that up using Outlier a little later. Next one. What is the best NBA total bet based on playoff advance stats? So jaXon says the over between the Knicks and the Celtics tonight at 207.5, odds -110 on DraftKings. Key stats and analysis. The total open 207.5 has already moved to 208.5 for some books, indicating early action on the over. The Knicks have been scoring efficiently in the series, averaging 121 points per game over their last 2 wins. They've been averaging 121 points. Hold on. jaXon be off sometime, man. Maybe it might be a little too early for jaXon. Let me just double check that. 121 points. Nah, that's not accurate. Okay. All right. I knew I wasn't tripping. Averaging 121 points over the last 2 wins. Disregard that. Brunson has been a dominant offensive force, averaging 30.1 points and 8 assists per game in the playoffs, including a 39-point performance in Game 4. Celtics will be without Jason Tatum, but Jaylen Brown, 21.9 points per game in the playoffs, is expected to step up offensively. Both teams have shown the ability to push the pace in critical games, and the Knicks' recent offensive surge suggests this game could exceed the modest total. Okay. I'm not gonna read this, but I also wanted to see how Jason Tatum not being available for the Celtics would impact the total between the Knicks and the Celtics today. I'm not gonna read that, but check jaXon out if you guys are interested. There is a link in the description to get 50% off whatever tier you want to sign up for. Use code ChrisBeCappinn, 2 P's, 2 N's, and let's jump into the 2 games for today. So Knicks and Celtics up first. Line open. I think it opened right at what it is now, which is 4.5, and hasn't really moved a lot. Actually, it opened 3. My fault. Yeah, I did see this open 3. So open 3, went up to 4, 4.5, all the way up to 5. Now coming back down to 4.5. Total 207.5, up to 208.5, and now it looks like it's coming back down. So 207.5, it looks like is consensus. 4.5 is consensus as well. So let's jump into what we saw in game number 4. The New York Knicks. So we actually cashed on Boston first half minus the 3.5. Easy winner. They were winning by 15, 16 points. And then Boston does what Boston do, which is get smoked later in the game. They ended up losing the third quarter, 37-23. 15-point deficit there. I mean, sorry, 14-point deficit is what they were outscored by, and it was a pretty close game going into the fourth quarter. Even before Tatum got hurt, they were already getting outscored, though. Ended up losing the fourth quarter 33-28, and losing the game by, of course, 8 points. And, of course, there will be no Tatum. So looking into real quick, hold on, let's make sure I got all this right. Oh yeah, I actually did this. I did this backwards. All right. So before we go here, let's go here, right? So here's the numbers. Knicks shooting the ball 54%. I don't think it's gonna happen again. Knicks shot 35% from three. That's definitely something that they can replicate. Even though I think that their 3-point percentage will drop a little bit in this game. You can see the Celtics actually doubled the Knicks in free throws. I'm not sure. I think Tatum shot a lot of those free throws. So I'm not sure if Celtics can replicate that performance from the free throw line. The rebounding was the second straight game that the Knicks actually dominated the boards. Remember, they dominated the boards in game 3 as well. They dominated the boards in game 3 on Saturday, but they still ended up losing the game. So you can see that they were +6. A lot of this was Mitchell Robinson, especially in the first half. Ended up winning the rebounding battle +12. You can see that as well. Assists, they got 10 more. Steals 3 less, points off turnovers 19-18, and this was kind of uncharacteristic of the Boston Celtics to give up 19 points off turnovers. Boston top 5, one of the top 3 teams in the NBA as far as ball security, and they struggled in that regard. The Knicks have been putting a lot of pressure on them, specifically in the second half, and they have not been able to hold on to the ball. But if we get down to the nitty gritty, we go back, right? We look at the box score here. And this was something that was alarming to me even before Tatum went down with the injury. It was that nobody else was doing anything, right? When I thought about this series and I thought about how the Celtics were going to win the series, I thought that, first of all, I didn't know Porzingis was going to have the illness, whatever you want to call it, and how much it was going to impact him. Porzingis has been like the 12th best player in this series. And he was always the player that gave Boston the edge, in my opinion. But him, coming off the bench, his minutes did go up. You can see 24 after playing, I think it was 14 in game 3, but only 7 points, only 4 rebounds, 2 for 6 from the field, 0 for 2 from the 3-point line. That's not going to get the job done. That's never going to get the job done. So I'm not sure how he's feeling. I'm not even sure what this undiagnosed injury is that he has, but that scares me a lot for Boston. The other thing, just 2 more points I want to make real quick and tell you guys what I think the bet is in the game. The other thing is we look at Tatum, 42 points, right? So you're going to need more from Al Horford, who somebody put this in the comment section the other day, because remember I talked about fading Al Horford if you watch the show on Saturday. And Al Horford came out, had the game of his life, right? Went way over his 17.5 points plus rebounds. And now he comes back down to earth, right? 5 and 5, 1 for 2 from the field, doesn't even shoot the ball that much at all, even though he plays 38 minutes. Drew Holiday's going to have to give you more. Pretty, minus 12 for Drew Holiday. You expect him to have a little bit more of an impact. Derek White hit all of those threes early in the game, try to keep Boston in it. But if he doesn't shoot 6 for 11, they probably lose the game by even more. And of course, Jalen Brown, especially late, couldn't really do anything. Didn't shoot the ball well at all either. So Peyton Pritchard, of course, is going to have to step up. All right. So as far as full game goes, I think you got to take the points with the Knicks. I really, really do. They've already beaten you 3 times with Jason Tatum being available for, pretty much majority of all of that. 40 minutes was still the second most played behind only Derek White in game 4 in the Garden. I think the Knicks are the right side. I do think they're the right side. However, I think the best bet for the game, in my opinion, would be the early play. This kind of reminds me a little bit of Cleveland and Indiana yesterday. If you guys are watching the show, remember I said I think Indiana is the right side for the full game, but I think if you like Cleveland, take them early. First quarter, I think it was minus 1.5. I didn't bet it, but that's the way I think that you play this. I think Boston does come out, throw the first punch as they typically do. I think being at home in the Garden, this is a team with championship pedigree. Of course, they are the defending champs. I do think that they lose the game, but I think that you will get the best energy and effort from the Celtics early in this game, as we've seen throughout this series. I think that they've won the first quarter in every single game so far in the series. I think that they have had a lead at halftime in every single game so far in this series. And I think it might be enough early, from Jalen Brown, from, Derek White, from a Peyton Pritchard, maybe even Porzingis chips in as well. what I think happens in the second half is, and if we go back, right, this rebounding discrepancy is going to be humongous, right? So we see here the plus 12 on the boards for the Knicks, the plus 6 on the offensive glass. Jason Tatum is the leading rebounder for the Celtics. We're talking about a team that, I mean, they're going to have to dig deep, in my opinion, the Boston Celtics are. Tatum is the best rebounder. One of the reasons why the Knicks have been dominant in this series is because they have been able to get those offensive rebounds. So you're taking away not just somebody that can facilitate the offense. Tatum finished with 4 assists. I think he leads the team in assists in the series. Of course, he leads the team in points in the series. But you're also taking away their best rebounder. So that's going to create a lot of opportunities. I'm not sure if it's Porzingis, if it's Al Horford, if it's Jalen Brown. But I think as the game goes on, it does favor the Knicks a lot more. So I like Boston first quarter, first half, -1.5, -2.5. I think is available, right? Well, at least it was available last night. Didn't bet either one of them, but that's the ways that I'm looking to play this game. Let's see what you guys are thinking, and then we will go to the next one. Let's see. Steven says, you think the Knicks will close out? Can't fall behind, rest against Pacers, night Warriors. Justin says he thinks Jackson's smoking some of that good stuff. Adam says, I never trust these AI platforms, make mistakes all the time. That's why you double check them though, Adam. I think a lot of people get it confused, right? A lot of people think you put the prompt in and you take the play. AI is not supposed to be smarter than humans. It's supposed to be a tool that's used to help humans make decisions quicker and faster. Doesn't mean that you don't double check it and do your own research. But, and I've been telling you guys this from the beginning, and Jackson went on a long run, right? You're going to see people say, oh, I'm tailing Jackson blindly. Like all of that's going to happen over the course of time. Just the overreactions, in my opinion. Dyer says Towns over his boards. I mean, that makes a ton of sense. We'll look at that in just a second. I would like to see what that number is. He has gone up and over his boards in every game. Alex says take the Knicks on the money line. The morale is gone. Jalen Brown over 25.5 points for Justin. -125. Okay. R8 says Boston first half and Boston first quarter and first half. Derek White over is 18.5, all in my back pocket. I like these. Peyton over his points. Knicks close it out tonight, Moneyman says. Boston is cooked, GLB says. I agree. What up, Anthony? Alex says if they struggle with Tatum, they'll struggle without him. Brown over 25, but not enough to get the dub. And I agree with that. I do agree with that. What up, Ring? Appreciate you for tapping in. So real quick on the W, I am going to be dropping those videos, probably one today, one tomorrow, right in time for the WNBA season. WNBA season does start on Friday. 3 games on Friday night. He said, please get back in the Discord. I might jump back in the Discord, man. I might get back in there. I got a lot of other things going on though, so it does kind of occupy. Like my time is all occupied. Outside of doing this show is actually a time of comfort for me, like a time of peace, right? Where I get to talk it out. I get to, like converse with you guys and just kind of talk out my thought process of how I think the game's gonna go. When I get up from the seat, it's boom though. It's like boom, 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 boom. I'm out. Like I got so many things that I'm doing. Don't really have a lot of time to get in the Discord, but I'll see if I can make some time. Adam says I already bet Boston first quarter, but like him full game. Lover says I might take Peyton over his boards as well. He's an underrated rebounder for sure. I love it. I agree with that. Good morning. He says good afternoon, Chris. I hope all is well. Looking to live bet the Knicks for a better spread if they get down early in the first quarter, which means you like Boston first quarter, and I agree with that, Tariq. What's up, Dex? Appreciate you for tapping in. The Anthony says what's been working for me is live betting player props. Donovan came out aggressive, took his points over and cashed. Okay, that's a fact. Now this is absolutely gonna happen in NYC. I think the Celtics are cooked. I agree. JFX says Chris broke out with the Lakers tee. That must mean Celtics are winning tonight. Nah, it don't mean that. It was actually the one that I just grabbed. Yeah, W gonna be fire for sure, man. I'm so excited for the W season. I didn't realize I was going through and looking at all the teams and all the moves, and I've been able to catch a little bit of the preseason games, but I didn't realize there was so many moves from coaches to players to philosophy. Like a lot of these teams are gonna look a lot different. They're gonna play a lot different. Anthony says Cat over his 12 and a half rebounds. Good money. Celtics best rebounder off the floor. And I agree with that. So let's go take that trip over to Outlier real quick. First thing I want to look at is, let's see if we can get this here. All right. So first thing I want to look at is, let me go back up because I started these. First thing I saw with Tatum, with not Tatum, Cat over his boards. Unless Karl Anthony Towns gets in foul trouble, which is possible. I mean, he always out there doing all the the goofy stuff that he do. Don't think he could ever foul anybody. Like Cat is weird to me sometimes, man. But anyway, Cat rebounds for today. He's can religiously crush the line. They have adjusted it, put it up to 12 and a half. You can see in this series though, he's up and over in 3 to 4 games. Going back to the last game in Detroit, he has snatched 13 rebounds or more in 4 of his last 5 games. The rebound chances are absolutely there. If we're expecting the Knicks to play defense, the Celtics should miss more shots. Cat should be on the floor a little bit more, and I wouldn't talk anybody off of this. But can we actually get, outside of Cat rebounds, can we get Mitchell Robinson rebounds? I feel like Mitchell Robinson may go over his rebound prop just based off offensive rebounds. Let's go look at Mitchell Robinson rebounds real quick. 6.5. This might be the better play. Mitchell Robinson rebounds. Thinking that the Knicks, if they're gonna win, I think a lot of it is gonna be on the glass. His minutes have continuously gone up. He played 25, which was his series high in this game. You can see that right here. So all 4 games so far, Mitchell Robinson has finished with 6.5 boards or more, with 7 boards or more. It looks like the minutes will continue to go up. As long as he can stay out of foul trouble too, I think he has a pretty good chance. Rebound chances, 12, 14, 16, and 11. I'll do a little bit more digging. I get there with Mitchell Robinson rebounds. Mitchell Robinson, especially with Cat number adjusted. I think Cat was set at 11 and a half in the last game. All right, good job there. Next one, Justin says Jalen Brown over his 25 and a half points. So let's look at, this kind of feels like a no-brainer, right? It's either going to be him, it's going to be Peyton Pritchard, or it's going to be Derek White. Somebody's going to have to step up. And you can see that this number is high for what he has done recently. But with no Tatum there, it makes sense that he's going to have to be the guy, right? You can see that this did open 26 and a half, but it did get back down to 25 and a half. Kind of feeling different about Jalen Brown. I feel like the Boston Celtics, the way that they move the basketball, it could be any of these guys that have a big game. But yeah, I couldn't talk anybody off Jalen Brown. I do think that the shot attempts will be there for sure. You can see here, field goals. He hasn't shot the ball more than 20 times in the playoffs so far. Let's see. Yeah, so 19 here, 20, 23 here. I'm looking for at least 20, probably 20 attempts. 20 attempts should get him close to the 26 points that he would need. So couldn't talk anybody off of this at all. And I think those were the 2 that we talked about. All right, let's go over to the next game. So we got the Warriors and the Timberwolves, and this should not say 11 and a half. It should say minus 11 and a half. Timberwolves laying a big number at the crib. So is this series over with the Golden State Warriors being down 3-1? What we saw in game number 4 was the Golden State actually came out. They fought early in the first half. If you had a chance to watch, Minnesota took a big lead in the third quarter. It feels like that's been consensus for Minnesota. Maybe they play around with their food early, and then in the second half they kind of really turn it on and turn it up. Oh, there's one more thing I want to mention. I got a screenshot out in the first game. I'll go back to it in just a second. I think I screenshotted it. Let's see. I'll go back to it in just a second if I can remember. Matter of fact, I'll leave it pulled up on my phone. So Minnesota has played around with their food in the first half. They came out, threw a haymaker in the third quarter. And then Golden State responded in the fourth quarter, outscoring the Timberwolves to get this back to a manageable loss deficit, losing the game by 7 points. So we look at the numbers here. You can see Minnesota shot 49%, Golden State shot 43%. Golden State struggled from the 3-point line, which is what I thought that they would do after shooting, I think, 43% in game number 3 at the crib. Minnesota shot 47% from 3. I think we see a little bit of regression from Minnesota on the 3-point shot. Free throws about even. Golden State did get to the line a couple more times. The rebounding was about even though Golden State did grab 14 more boards. What it really comes down to me, and you can see turnovers were there. Timberwolves won the game by 7, even though they turned the ball over, 5 more times and gave up 9 more points off their turnovers. So, should they be able to get the job done? Yes. I think the way I see the game, and 10 and I'm not laying this 11.5 points. I already made my mind up that I'm not doing that. Can they win the game by margin? They absolutely can. But when I was going back and looking at it, if we look at the numbers, right? So Draymond Green had a much better game. I think he finished with 2 points or 4 points in game 3. He finished with 14, hit 2 of his 6 threes, had 7 rebounds. Trace Jackson Davis had 5. Jimmy, who was dealing with an illness, had 14, 6, and 3. Buddy Hield had 13. Brandon Bajinski finally showed up just a tad bit, even though he had 11 points. He still shot just 3 for 14 from the field, only finished with 0 for 4 from the 3-point line. And then Jonathan Kuminga came back down to earth just a little bit. Didn't finish with 30 points, but still contributed 23 on 6 for 13 shooting. And couldn't make a 3, even though he made the one that ended up being a push the other day. But I say all that to say that I don't think Golden State is going to be able to replicate this offensive performance again. I think it'll be very, very difficult. The problem is Minnesota does play around with their food at the crib. Remember when I talked about this in game number 3? I like Minnesota minus the 5 specifically because the series was tied at 1-1. So I thought that they would come out, try to regain home court back, and they did. I thought Minnesota had a chance to win game number. I knew that in my mind they were going to win game 4 as well. We've seen Minnesota kind of play around with their food at the crib, though, man. This has been a much better team on the road. I gave you guys the numbers. I think before the series started, they were something like 6-2 straight up and against the spread on the road since the playoffs started last year. And at home, it's totally different. I'm not going to pull the numbers up right now, but I do think 11.5 is a lot to lay. Golden State does still have championship pedigree, championship DNA. So it wouldn't surprise me if they snuck in, got a backdoor cover in this game. I don't think that they'll win the game. I think the Timberwolves are going to win, of course, but I don't think Golden State will go out like that. One of the things that I considered in this game, and I didn't bet it, one of the ways I was considering betting this one was first half, though, just because we've seen Minnesota play around with their food. And real quick, if I pull let's just go through the numbers real quick. If we look at the Thunder, not the Thunder, we look at the Timberwolves, they are, let's see, this round specifically, second round, they are, all right, so Minnesota is winning the first quarter by about 4 points per game, losing the second quarter by 3 points per game. Of course, they were dominated in game 1, 24. All right, so the 2 home games, they lost the first quarter, of course, to the Warriors in game 1, but then they dominated the Warriors in game 2 when the Warriors couldn't score the basketball at all, and they beat them 117-93. But the second quarter, for whatever reason, they take their foot up off the gas. And I kind of think if I like Golden State, probably it's early, in my opinion. Golden State, you can get a plus 6.5 right now. I think that's the way that I would bet it. Golden State is not the more talented offensive team without Steph Curry being out there. I think that they will fade as the game goes on. And Golden State, the Timberwolves have only gotten better as the game has gone on. On average, they're scoring just 24 points in the first quarter, 22 points in the second quarter, but 31.5 in the third quarter, and 28.2 in the fourth quarter in this round specifically. So that's 46 points in the first half versus 59 in the second half. Also, the defense is also a little bit better. They just play better in the second half of the game. So it wouldn't surprise me if Golden State covered this plus 6.5. That's the way that I probably would bet this one. I think it's the best bet on the board. Golden State first half plus the 6.5 would be what I would play here. Let's see what you guys are thinking. And I'm not probably gonna stay off player props. We talked about Anthony Edwards over his 4.5 assists in the last game. I didn't play it. He did end up cashing, but he finished with 5 assists right on the hook. And he barely cashed it, and he only finished with 6 potential. I did go back and look at it, so I don't feel comfortable going back to that. I thought that they would throw the kitchen sink at him in the last game. They did. Of course, Julius Randle was the guy who played really well, which you can see on the screen as well. Julius Randle been hooping, man. 31 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists coming off the triple-double game before. Even Jaden McDaniels going out there snatching down 13 boards. I do think the Timberwolves will be able to shoot the three well, but I don't think they'll shoot as well as they shot it in the last game. Anthony Edwards going 6 for 11 is a little bit of an outlier in my opinion. Naz Reid probably due for some offensive regression after going under in 2 straight games, only finishing with 5 points. He would probably be somebody I would be looking at. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I think, continues to be underrated as well. I know jaXon hit on Nickeil Alexander-Walker over his rebounds and assists. I think it was 3.5 in game number 3. He cashed, and he cashed again. You can see on the screen he had 4. So I guess those are ways that I would look as far as player props go, but especially with Nickeil Alexander-Walker being back at the crib, he'll be needed for his defense as well. So I guess those are ways that I would probably be looking, but I don't feel too comfortable with this. I don't feel too confident in this game, and I don't want to force anything. Let's see what you guys are thinking. Shakira Austin rebounds, gonna pay bills, GLB says. I am interested to see what the Washington Mystics look like, man. Let's stop talking about basketball, at least for right now. But I'm glad that you guys are excited for basketball as well. Kilo says, Pritchard 2 threes, Jalen Brunson 6 assists, not bad to use in a parlay. I couldn't talk you off of that at all, Kilo. Could not talk you off of that. I think I like both of those. Pritchard should knock down 2, and Jalen Brunson, you take the juice off, right, at a 6.5 and just play the 6. I love it. Says, you cooking, Chris? I don't know what I was saying, but hopefully it's helpful. OG Garden JB, not a good matchup for him, in my opinion. I can kind of agree with that, Adam. I can definitely kind of agree. But Boston gonna try to they're gonna try to hunt mismatches, right? You want Jalen Brunson guarding Jalen Brown. So he'll try to body him. We've been seeing that in this series so far. But yeah, Jermaine, I like this. Celtics first quarter would be the way that I would be watching. What up, bet at your own risk? Says, hope everyone is good. Went 1-2 last night. I took the Celtics first half points over 54.5. I took the Warriors to cover the first half. So you like what I like, bet at your own risk. You're a smart guy. You're sharp. I like it. I like it a lot. This is exactly what is on my short list for today. JLB reminding people to hit the like button. It is helpful if you guys can like the show. It does help a lot. Tommy says, all this breaking down film to only take one play. Hey, Tommy. Then he says, I'm just messing around. Good morning. I think when you're hitting, sometimes the greed factor could come in and you start, taking plays that you don't necessarily love. And I'm probably one of the most disciplined people I know in my life. And that's something that was self-taught. I didn't grow up around, disciplined people, but I mean, you see it, right? Like if we compare sports betting, and people that's been watching the show for a while now, especially throughout the playoffs, know that I've been absolutely on a heater. Doesn't mean that you want to give it all back though. And it's okay with, taking some of your profits, right? I think about comparing this to, the stock market, right? The S&P 500, the Russell, all of it goes up when China and US, get the 90-day ceasefire on the trade war and all that good stuff. But a lot of money has been dumped into the market, right? $2 trillion has been dumped into the market over the last couple of, it might have been just one day, might have been just on Monday. My point in saying all that is that, you don't have to be too greedy. You could kind of, take your profit and chill out a little bit. I've actually been withdrawing money from my account, which is something I typically don't do, but I don't want to give it all back. So yeah, that's my thought process. 77 Figure says Wolves -11, gonna take Golden State to Smack City tonight. There is a chance that they could potentially just, give up, right? And I think that's one of the things that I was thinking about. Real quick, let's just look at this. I meant to look at this earlier. I was thinking about this when I was running this morning. So if we look at series wins equal 3 and series wins equal 3 and home and line is greater than 10. So this query will show teams in home double-digit home favorites with 3 wins, only needing 1 more to close the series out. Let's see what this number looks like. Like I said, this was something that I wanted to look into and never got to earlier. If it'll load. All right. So it's a over trend. Matter of fact, let's just pull it up real quick. I'll let you guys see it too. I think this is it. This is what I'm looking at real quick. Y'all can tell I got some time right now. All right, so let's zoom in just a little bit. All right, so this is double-digit home favorites with 3 wins in the series, so they can close out at home, but they're laying double digits. Only 15, 17, and 2 against the spread, going all the way back to 2003. You can see that here. 22 and 12 to the over. Closeout games go over. 65% is a lot. That's enough to make me want to just kind of add that and look a little bit deeper. You can see that this season is 1-0, straight up 1-0 to the over as well. What game was that? That was the Celtics and the Magic, and they got blown out as well. Celtics did win that game by margin. Let me just check something real quick. Yeah, you can see the Timberwolves and Warriors game is active right here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight overs going all the way back to the 2022 season. Wow. Okay, let's look at that then. Season greater than or equal to 2022. Did I say 2022? Yeah. All right. So yeah, 6-0 to the over. Games are going over. Average total of 213.5. Games are going over by 10.6 points. You can see that right here. So 224 points is what if you add this 114 and this 104. Yeah. Okay. So over in this game based on this analysis here that we just came up with. Maybe we look at over. All right, let's get into a quick recap, man. I've been talking for forever. Just trying to go through the comments. That's why I like talking it out with you guys. Y'all make me think about the game in a different way. Nas Reed over 1.5 threes. Anthony says hit the number every home game. Quentin says he loves Nas Reed as well. I like it. I like it over now, Tariq. I like that team total over, and I know it's probably high just because the game is this 11.5 point spread. Let's see, it's only 106.5 though. Pinnacle got it at -111. FanDuel got it at -115. DraftKings got it at -115. But it is some 107.5s out there as well. So yeah, I think that they go up and over. I do think they go up and over. What up, Brian? Hope all is well with you. What up, Bissy? Hope all is well with you. Lover says I'm fading Cat under his threes. Mark says I like over. Also play Minnesota team total over, but play Minnesota team total only. So just staying away from the spread, just thinking that they'll be able to run it up today. And yeah, maybe it's something you play in the second half. Real quick on Brunson, I don't know if there is a sports book. Real quick, I actually want to show you guys this. Let me see if I can find it first. Let's go back to Outlier. So I was looking at the beat writer Tommy Beer that covers the New York Knicks, and he put this tweet out talking about Brunson fourth quarter, because he just won the clutch player of the year and all that good stuff. I don't know if you can get Jalen Brunson first half points or second half points. I don't even know if those markets are available. Let's see. Nah, you can just get first quarter points, 7.5. So pretty much the way I analyzed the tweet was probably to play Brunson under in the first half, on his points, and then if you can catch Brunson live, play live on Brunson. So the tweet reads, and I probably should have screenshotted this and put it up here so you guys can see this as well. Tommy Beard says most points scored in the fourth quarter this postseason. Jalen Brunson is first at 102 points in the fourth quarter scored. Anthony Edwards is second at 68. That's 34 points? A 34-point differential from number 1 to number 2 in the NBA. Then Jason Tatum is number 3 at 60. Jamal Murray is number 4 at 57. Donovan Mitchell is number 5 at 54. And of course, these numbers came out before the game last night, before both of the games last night. So, yeah, I mean, I don't care where they came out at. Nobody has more points than Jalen Brunson, not even close, which is my point is he's doing a lot of his scoring in the second half and not as much in the first half. So maybe you fade Brunson early. I don't know if you can get a first half number on probably like on some daily fantasy sports type apps. You can see it right here. I don't even know what first half FS mean. But you can see here, he's not doing as well in the first half, especially against Boston. Every single game he's gone under, but I bet you in the second half he's gone over. So just a note I wanted to mention on Brunson. Actually, I almost forgot about that. All right, let's go back and get ready to get up out of here, man. Hopefully, this was a very in-depth show. Hopefully, it was helpful for you all. Hopefully, you guys are learning something as well. All right, let's see. Let's update this too. So Boston first quarter. I think I feel a little bit more comfortable with Boston early. Let's see. I saw 1.5 available last night. I didn't bet it though. I saw 2s available everywhere else. The 1.5 is still available. It is juiced. Hard Rock and ESPN Bet got a -125. You can get the -2 right now on DraftKings at -112. That's probably the way I would play. Boston first quarter -2, and I think that they run out of gas. I would be on the Knicks for the full game. New York plus the 4.5, and then Golden State and Minnesota over. Based on that trend I just saw, I think Golden State can get to 95. You just need them to get to 95. Their team total is 94.5 on DraftKings, 96.5 on Bet365. So do think the Timberwolves should be able to score. I can see this one getting blown wide open for sure. So total for the Timberwolves and the Golden State Warriors over. You can get a 202 on DraftKings. Look like it's the best number right now. 202.5 is available and 203. So always shop around. Make sure you guys are getting the best number. But 202 flat is available on DraftKings right now. I think that would be the way that I would play it. As always, though, if I end up playing anything, I will send it out to the members. You can utilize that link if you are wanting the plays that I make. It's probably a good time to sign up. WNBA, we did pretty well last year. Finished well above in the green as well. So hopefully we can replicate that this year. Super excited for the season that starts on Friday. Real quick, also on the series bets, I didn't go through and recap these. Looks like we're going to finish 2-2 on those series bets, which I think will end up being profitable because one of them was well, actually, I don't know if it will be profitable or not. I think it will be profitable though. We got the Clippers plus 1.5 on the series price. This was a video I made about at the beginning of the first round after game number 1. Clippers won the series, the season series, plus 1.5 games they did win. They did not win the series. They lost to Denver, of course, at plus 150, but that was a smaller bet. OKC minus 3.5. They did end up sweeping Memphis, and Boston doesn't look like they're going to win the conference. So we'll finish 2-2, but I think slightly profitable based on the odds. Well, not even the odds, based on the odds, plus based on the units allocated towards those bets. So yeah, man, like I said, I hope the show was helpful. Check the resources out if you guys are interested. Check JaXon out, Outlier, Moneyballer, OddsJam. If you need a new sports book, there is a link in the description to sign up for that as well. And yeah, that'll be the show, man. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. And be on the lookout. Make sure you got the notifications on if you want the WNBA content, because those will be dropping as just videos and not lives. So yeah, check those out and turn the notification bell on if you guys are interested as well. Drop the show link in the group chat, man. Hit the like button on the way out. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Enjoy your Wednesday. I'm out.